Going live in 3, 2, you're live.
Welcome to the Brentwood community on behalf of the Board of Education and Central Administration. Today is March 4th, and we are having our next informal budget workshop. With that being said, I believe that we do have a couple of hours of presentations that are before us. So I would like to just go ahead and call this meeting to order at 5:11 p.m. So I need a motion to convene the board workshop at 5:11 p.m. Could I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion by Trustee Safiri. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by Trustee Holder Daniel. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstentions, so moved. What I will do is go right to the agenda that was sent out a little earlier by Mr. Lochner. And just please ask everyone if they could please stand for the pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
to the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with justice for all.
Thank you very much. So without further ado, I think that we'll just turn this over to Ms. O'Connor. Please, you could take it from here.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Feliciano, and welcome to everybody to our fourth informal budget meeting. I'm glad you could join us tonight, or if you're watching it in the future recorded, thanks for watching. We have one presenter tonight, that is Ms. Wanda Ortiz Rivera. She'll talk about the ESL budget as well as the bilingual budget, a little bit of registration, and some BOCES as well. So I will let Wanda take it away. I will make you host right now, Wanda, so you can share your presentations. Okay, so it is all yours, Wanda.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Let me just share my screen here right now.
Good evening.
Okay.
That's right. We might as well respond, right? Since
Yeah.
we're the only ones who can. Good evening, Ms. Ortiz.
Can you see my screen now?
See a
see
blue
blue-
line.
I
A
don't
blue
know.
strip.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now.
There you go.
Excellent. All right, so good evening, everyone. I am going to present to you what I do every year. I give you a presentation, an overview of our bilingual and ENL programs. It's an overview of the languages that we have here in Brentwood and the students that we service, our English language learners or multilingual learners. I am also going to present to you an update on the Office of Funded Programs and update on the Office of Registration. And then I will talk to you about the proposed bilingual and ENL budget and the BOCES budget. So let's start here first. This is CR Program 54. I just wanted to share a few pictures with you. The pictures that you see here, these two students that we see. Oh, I hear something. So the two, do you hear that?
It's you.
Yes.
It said it was you.
Yeah, we do hear it.
No, I hear the
think
person
it's
who's saying
translation.
on Facebook.
Yes, Candace sent
Oh.
on Facebook.
I gotta mute it.
They have to mute that, yes.
There you go.
Excellent, thank you. So the two students that you see here are students that we have our teachers drop materials for them, and just look at these faces, they're beautiful. This happened in March when we had the pandemic, and I just want to begin by thanking our teachers for all the work that they did during that time when we had to close our students, our schools. And then here in the middle, you see a picture of what is happening right now. Students are learning at home, and they're also learning here in the classroom. So just wanted to say that. Okay, so now what you see here, we have a chart here that indicates the number of students that we have here at the state level in New York State. The number of students that are being serviced right now in New York State is the total of 222,491 students at this time. This is a number, as you know, I just want to point that we have 2019, 2020 numbers because those are the numbers that are actually presented to us at the state level. This is what we receive. We're always a year behind when we have to present this presentation to you. So this is what we have right now, 222,491 students in New York State. In New York City, we service 129,700 72. And on Long Island, we have a total of 40,370 students. In Suffolk County, out of this number, in Suffolk County, we have 24,428. And this is our comparison. So based on the numbers that we have in Suffolk County, we service 28% of those students. We have them here in Brentwood. I'm very fortunate to have our English language learners and multilingual learners here. So this past year, we serviced 6,808 students. The year before, we serviced 7,000 students. And now we went a little bit down for 6,808 students. So we have 28% of the population, of the L population in Suffolk County. If you look at this chart here, we always compare our numbers with the numbers from the Big Five districts. Besides New York City, we are the largest after New York City. As you can see, Buffalo only services 5,320, and we're always ahead of the game. So we have 6,808 students. When we look at English language learners, we have subgroups for English language learners. We have newcomers. Those are students that have been in program for 0 to 3 years. We have the developing Ls that have been in programs from 4 to 6 years, and the long-term Ls that have been in program for more than 6 years. When you look at these numbers and what we have here in Brentwood, as you can see, 69% of the total population that I mentioned before, the 6,800 number, they are newcomers. So those are students that are just learning the language. This is our largest number. Then we go to the developing Ls and the long-term Ls. We also have a large number of students that are SIVE students. Those are students with interrupted formal education. In 2019, we serviced 707 students, that's 10%. And we have specific programs for those students. And the programs are right now at West Middle School, South Middle School, and the high school. Out of this number that we have here, this is the 6,808, 1,283 are students with learning disabilities. So that's 19% of the total population is they're learning disabled somehow. So many of the students that you see here that receive speech, but also the long-term Ls that you have here, they're also fall into this category. And the reason for that is that many students do not have yet the comprehension skills and the writing skills that they need in order to exit the program, and they become, they are actually labeled as learning disability, they're having a learning disability. So this is a number, and we're creating special programs that I will speak to you about later for these students. Based on the number of the students that I mentioned before, the newcomers, developing L, and long-term Ls, if you take a minute to look at the chart here, this is by grade level, so you have the different grade levels here. Let's take a look at the newcomers, right? Newcomers, as I mentioned before, are 0 to 3, right? So they, in kindergarten, we have a large number of students coming in, first grade, second grade. Excellent, so we get them here, and then they begin to move to developing Ls. We have many students that exit the program, and that's fine. But then take a look here when you get to grade 9, 10, and 11. Did you see the increase there also? These are students that are going to the high school. They're placed at the high school. Some of them are SIVE students also, and they don't come with too many credits. They are really lacking credits. Right now, I'm working closely with Dr. Akil, Jerry Cheng, and Wena Benes to create evening courses that can actually accelerate the learning and provide extra credits to see if we can have these students take more classes at night also, so that they can graduate on time and they can meet all the credits that they have lost. Many students, sometimes in grade 10, they're already 17 years old. Usually around that time, that's when we are actually graduating students, but they're here. So we have to pay close attention to the students here in this area here. Now, take a look at this number we have in grade 6 here. We have 213 students that are actually former Ls. Those are students that have exited the program. And I'm going to show you the next one so that you can see why this is happening right now. So these are students that are meeting English proficiency. As you know, we did not administer the NICES last year because we couldn't administer the state assessment. So we're going with the 2019 scores. But I do want to make you a point here that in order for a student to acquire a language, a student that is strong in their first language, in the native language, will take the student between 6 to 7 years to acquire the language. So that's why you see a large increase of students exiting in grade 6, because it's actually 6 to 7 years. Now, when we have a SIVE student, it can take them more than 10 years to acquire a second language. And that's why we do have a side program here trying to accelerate the learning of our students that are that have interrupted education. And I didn't mention before that a student with interrupted education is a student that is behind 2 years or more in math and reading. And that's what we have many students that are under that category. So here you have many students exiting in 6th grade, and also at the kinder level, we have many kindergarteners exiting. And these students, although they exit, they also need to receive 2 years of monitoring services. So I do have to provide them with services. Now, this chart is fascinating to me, and I'm always very proud to present this to the board and to the community. When you take a look at this chart here, we have the students, the Ls that we service. I mentioned before the category, the subgroups, newcomers, developing and long-term Ls. So we have them here, the 6,800 students. Then there's a term called EverL. And EverL, once you're an English language learner, you always will be an English language learner. And this is the way that the state really tracks our students. So when you look here, 60% of our population, the entire Brentwood population, at some point, either they're still Ls or at some point they were an English language learner. Only 40% of our students have never been eligible to be in program. This number doesn't mean that the parent doesn't come from a home that a second language is spoken. What it means is that many of our students, they registered, they took the NICETEL, and they passed the NICETEL, so that means that they don't qualify for services. So we do have, as you know, we have 84% of our population is Hispanic. So although the kids are never attending, right, they don't need to attend an L program, they fall into this category now because they passed the test. So we are a district within a district, meaning we service so many students, right? We have more than 6,800 kids that we service, but we also have a total of 5,887 students that at some point they were in program. Now, this number overlaps with this here. So the 2,970 number that I have here, although they exited the program, as I mentioned before, I still have to service these students. So what that means is that when I'm working on staffing, I also have to take into account the former students, and I have to provide them services for 2 years. I love this chart. This is Brentwood, this is us.
Wanda, can we ask you a question now, or do you want us to hold
Sure,
on?
no, sure, go ahead.
Yeah, so what kind of services do you offer those EverL students?
The former Ls. The former Ls.
I'm sorry.
Ls don't have, what happens is that the former Ls are also in this number here, because that's how the state code them. Okay. So it doesn't mean that I have 25,000 students. These 20,000 students that we serviced here in Brentwood last year. What this means is that I wanted to make a distinction between the EverLs and the former Ls. The EverLs, the only EverLs that need services are the ones who exited within 2 years. These are commanding monitor 1, commanding monitor 2. That's what they're called. So this number, I still have to provide them services. And we have to, by the state regulations, we have to provide them with 90 minutes of ENL, ELA instruction or any other content area related to ENL. So that's what we did. That's what we do here. Did I answer your question, Julia?
Wanda, can I ask you?
Yes.
Can you hear me? I can, you know what? I'm not sure if I.
Yeah,
yes.
We hear you.
Okay. I think what Julie's asking is, are these the 2,970, the former Ls? You said that we do have to provide monitoring services. And I think that's what Julie.
Well, yeah. Well, I wanted to know what kind of services. Well,
what kind of monitoring?
Right. So they have to place, based on the UNICEF study and the regulations from CRPA 154, we have to provide them with 90 minutes of instruction on a weekly basis. We have to provide them with either what is called the ENL ELA instruction or ENL with any other content area. We always offer our students more than less. So usually they're placed with a teacher who's dually certified, receiving ENL ELA services, because we have a large number of teachers that are dually certified already at the secondary level. And for the most part, the students, they are also at the secondary level. So we have teachers that are dually certified, and we provide them those services. So our teachers provide them with scaffolding techniques in order to continue teaching them. But
they do that within the confines of the classroom. They're not pulled out.
Exactly. Yes, we don't have to pull them. We don't pull students anymore.
All right. So that's only for those 2,900 170 students,
Right, that is
right?
correct.
Not the ever else. Okay,
Not the else, right? Thank you.
thank you.
So now let's take a look here at our languages that we have here in Brentwood. As you know, we have our 96.76% of our students, they speak Spanish. Many of our students come from El Salvador. We have students from Honduras. We have students from the Dominican Republic, a large population also from Ecuador and Colombia. And also we just began to receive students from Venezuela and Chile. So we have students from Venezuela and Chile as well. Then we have students that speak Urdu, those are the students from Pakistan. And then we have students that speak the Creole languages, also many, from Haiti. Pashto as well, we have we have students from Afghanistan. We have students here also from Haiti. We have students from France, believe it or not. We have students that speak French from France. We have students that speak Twi. And also we have students from India that speak Bengali. These students that you see here, and this is something that I always ask for the budget, that if they are at the high school level and they have to take the regions or any other, the math or the science assessment, if they only speak the native language, we need to provide them with a translator when they take the state assessments. And that's part of the budget that I always present to you. Okay. I love this chart. I was able to provide you with a trajectory of English language learners, multilingual learners in terms of enrollment. Since 2013, I actually contacted Juana Perez, who was the former coordinator of the program, just to talk a little bit about this trajectory. And just take a look at what happened in 2013 with our numbers. So on bed state, that's usually in October. And in 2013, we serviced 5,191 students. At the end of that school year, we still had the same number of students. It doesn't mean that they were the same students, it just happened to be that we ended up with the same number of students. Now, when you begin to look in 2014, all the way down to now, 2020, in between bed stay, right, and the end of the school year, there was a significant increase. Like, for example, we have in 2014, we began school with 5,412 students, and we serviced 6,188. That means that we received 776 more students during the school year. And that the trajectory that happens all the way through. In 2016, we actually received 1,165 students more. So my point to this, and look at this year, to 6,000, we began with 6,420, and we're already going for 7,102. So the point that I like to make to the board and to the residents is, so it is very difficult, right, to create staffing projections when this happens. And our enrollment in classrooms at the beginning of the school year, it is probably low because, as you see, I began last year, I had 6,808 students that I service. This is what we plan when we begin to do our staffing with Monique and also Dr. Akil and Ms. Palmer. Then I began the year only with 6,420. But look at this, I already have the 7,102 students. So this is something to keep in mind when we're working on staffing, okay? Then I also wanted to provide you with a number of bilingual and ENL teachers that we have hired since 2013. And let's just take a look at last year. We had a total of 261. This year we have a total of 257.4. Although the enrollment is almost the same. We have less because we were able to hire teachers who were dually certified through our CRITI program, which is an excellent program that we have here. Not here, it's at the state level, just a grant from the state. And we're able to hire teachers and provide them with this grant so that they can become dually certified. Many of the licenses that we get or the seats that we get for the CRITI program also have been given to the special education teachers, so they can also be dually certified. Okay. And here I just provided you with a breakdown just in case that you want to see it in terms of the number of bilingual teachers that we have at the elementary level. We have 87, middle school 29, bilingual high school 30.6. That's a total of 146 teachers, 0.6 that we have at the district. And ENL teachers, we have a total of 110.8. And these are the students that are that we supervise here in our department. Okay. Now, this is the elementary enrollment numbers. I know that you always want to see how how we compare to the year before. And what I provided you here, you have here the enrollment numbers in 2019 per school. You see them all here. We had a total of 8,452 students. And then this year, we have a total of 8,020. That's a decrease in total enrollment of 432 students. But let's take a look at the English language learners, right? We have a total of 3,555, and now we have 3,000, this year 3,671. So this went up by 116. So although the enrollment numbers are really decreasing, right? Our enrollment numbers continue to increase. So we might see a decrease, right, on general ed numbers, but not in L numbers. And again, as I mentioned before, when I show you that pie chart, we are a district of L's, and as you can see, the percentage of students that we have at each building goes all the way from 59% at East Kinder, 63 being the highest right now at Pine Park. So our district is definitely a district of L's. The only school that doesn't have more than 40% is right now is Southwest. Okay? And these students that you see are the commanding students. We also have to serve the students, as I mentioned before. Julie, that was part of your question
Right,
before.
that was,
We have to
yes, thank
service
you.
them. Okay. So this is how I project enrollment. And these are, as you can see, I love numbers, and I have to put all my numbers together to see what is it exactly that I need and what is my request to the Board of Education and to our superintendent. Take a look at Loretta Park here, just for an example. So I have 46 students that are going into first grade bilingual, 35 INL, grade 2, 71, grade 2, in bilingual, and 24, and goes on. So that's what I do, and then I divide by the number of classes that the number of students that the students can have in a particular class, and that's how I make my projections. I will let you know in a minute exactly what I need for the elementary level. At Southeast, right, we have 49 first graders going into Southeast. They don't have the classroom space for the students, so every year I have to move the students to North, because that's where they have the classroom space. We don't have the classroom space, and we tried and we don't have that. So that also, that happens at the school. So the needs for next year, based on the enrollment numbers that I just presented to you, Hemlock Park, I don't have any changes. At Lower Park, I am going to need a grade 2 teacher. Loretta Park, a grade 3 bilingual teacher. North will receive the 23 students that I mentioned before. Northeast actually is going to need, I have to add a grade 2 teacher, but I have to decrease a grade 3. So that's what it's called a wash, right? At Oak Park, I am going to need a grade 3 teacher. I have to blend the ones from Southeast. Southwest doesn't have any changes. And at Twin Pines right now, one of our reading consultants went to, when they were returned back to the classroom, she has a general ed classroom. Hopefully, we are going to get back some of the reading consultants and the math consultants. And if that is the case, then I am definitely going to need a bilingual teacher here. In terms of East Kindergarten and Pine Park, this is always pending kinder registration. So we don't know what will happen here. Okay, so far I need 4 teachers at the elementary level. Okay, this is my secondary enrollment also. So as you can see, with the secondary enrollment, we also have here in 2019, we serviced 10,219 compared to the number now of 10,072. This is actually a decrease of 147 students at this point. And the L's, again, this is the number that it continues to increase. We increased by 206 students at the secondary level for L's. And these are the students that I have to monitor. And in terms of the percentage of students that we have that are L's, 30% being the highest at East Middle. We also have a large number of L's at South Middle, and of course at the high school level. So 28% of our population at the secondary schools are second language learners. This is the number of students that we have that are SCIVE. Look at the number, we went down a little bit in the number of SCIVE students. Many times, one of the observations that we had done here is that many students are working right now. They stop coming to school and they're working right now, and that's what the number at the high school level decreased by. I think it was, this is like 21 students, and at the middle school also. Now, some of them move. I know that many of our students moved to different places in March when they couldn't find jobs here. Many of our students were working in restaurants and they couldn't find jobs and they left. But I'm sure that at some point they will come back. So this is our SIVE students, and we have a specific program for them at the middle school level and at the high school. And at the elementary level, if the teachers have SIVE students, they have a teaching assistant working with them. Okay, this is my projected enrollment again at the middle school level. As I mentioned before, I indicate the number of bilingual students that I'm projecting to have and the number of ENL students, and this is how I make my projections. And based on this here right now, on these numbers that I have here, and at the freshman center, it's very difficult to project enrollment and the needs at this level, because it is not just one teacher providing all the classes. We have different teachers, and also depending on the NICE slot, the number of minutes that they will need for ENL and ELA, I have to work on staffing based on that. But based on this projection, not having the NICE slot scores, I don't really have too many changes. I know for sure that the freshman center is going to need an ENL, ELA teacher to service close to 199 students, perhaps, that we're going to have, 150 students that we're going to have there. Hopefully we will have many grade 8 exiting and entering the freshman center. So they still have to be serviced with monitoring services. And also West Middle School, we have a low SIVE enrollment number there. So perhaps some of these teachers will probably be split. I'm not sure yet. We have to wait for enrollment numbers later on, probably sometime in April or May, to make that determination. But I'm not asking for any teachers at the secondary level. I always like to provide you the elementary and bilingual class size, so you have that there just when you begin to review the numbers. This is the secondary level also. Just going back there to the elementary, we increased the number of students that our ENL teachers can actually service to 50. It used to be 40. That was something negotiated with PTA and the Board of Education. Okay. Now, I thought that it would be nice to show you also the number of students that we have in remote learning. So when you see here at the elementary level, middle school level, and at the freshman center at the high school, I provided you with the number of gen ed students and also with the number of English language learners. So at the elementary level, we have 643 students in remote learning, 328 at the middle school, and 465 at the high school. I am very happy and very pleased to know that we were able to return 110 SIVE students back to come 5 days a week. And this is amazing. The teachers are so happy, the students and the parents too. We were able to do that. The next group that we're looking at is the entering group. But as you can see, many of them are newcomers, and that's our largest number. Many schools, not many schools, some schools are really looking for creative ways to bring them back. We're looking at that. And also with the remote students that we have at the kinder level, thank you to the board and thank you to Mr. Lochner for adding the ENL, and the ENL services also for these students, but also the remote class. It was needed, and the parents are very happy. The students are logging on, and it's really nice to see that. And we actually have two ENL teachers servicing the students, also providing them with services. I provided the remote learners here by school. So you have that also, you can see how many students we have that are remote learners at each school level. And this is for you. I'm not going to go over those numbers at this time. And here, my wonderful team. I have here, I have Paula Rivero, I have Maria Rodriguez, Maria Lescan, and Karen Morgan. I would not be able to do what we do here without these amazing women, women that I have here. So I just want to thank them. I know, hopefully they're watching me. I think they are. So thank you so much, ladies, for always being my right hand. I want to just indicate a few things that we have done here in the department. We had a summer program this year for SIVE and entry level students. It didn't look the same, but it was an amazing program. We were able to service our students that were the newcomers, virtually. And that was an experience, a very good experience. We had teaching assistants and teachers also that train our bilingual families on how to use the computers. I am so grateful to our teaching assistants for doing this. And I will show you a little surprise later so you can see something that happened with the computer. So I'm very thankful for them. They were able to use a computer and help our families navigate the system. You know, some families didn't know that you actually have to plug a computer. So just things that we take for granted, we were able to teach them. So many of our students were prepared when we started here in September. We were able this year, as it was this year, we have been able to purchase tablets, Elmos, and Aquasport. I was able to use $67,000 for some of my title funds to purchase some Aquasport, and they will be going to the bilingual and ENL classrooms. I know that this is one of the goals that the boards have, right, to provide Aquasports to our classrooms. We created parent workshops, and we have them in conjunction with IT, the IT department, and the Plaza Comunitaria Liaison. So we have workshops in English and in Spanish for them. Also, and staff development for teachers and teaching assistants, Paula Rivero, Maria Rodriguez, Strict Brockman, and Candice and her team. We have been able to do that for our teachers. We're going to begin utilizing Title III funding with Dr. Audrey Cohen. She's going to provide PD on co-teaching practices and effective remote strategies for English language learner, and that starts tomorrow. We're going to begin this tomorrow. We continue to have a partnership with the New York State Education Department to maintain the Bridges lab site. We are a lab site for the Bridges program for our SIVE students, and we have many districts contacting us even now that they want to know what is it that we're doing to help our SIVE students. And I actually have a meeting with a school next week with Mary Alice to discuss this program. And we began now to provide the same PD to South Middle School. So our teachers that are servicing our SIVE students that are non-readers that are at the middle school level will benefit from this as well. We will continue to partner with colleges to enroll teachers in the CRITI program. And we actually have 184 of our teachers went through this program, through this grant, and I mentioned that. Very proud of the Seal of Biliteracy recipients. In 2020 now, we had 160 recipients of the Seal of Biliteracy. The year before, we only had 71, and the year before, we had 40. I'm very proud of that number, and I spoke to Wena Benes and Ruth Cosme last week, and they told me that they're already thinking that it's going to be 190 or 200 students. And this department has a scholarship for the students, and hopefully we're asking them to create videos, the importance of being bilingual. We're going to review those next month and provide them with a scholarship. One great thing that we are going to begin to do now, and I know this is something that the board wanted to do, in particular, Julia Burgos was always asking for this, was the bilingual hotline. So through our Plaza Comunitaria liaisons, Candy Shen and Stacy are going to create a phone line for our parents to be able to call here between the hours, probably, we think we put 4 and 8 o'clock. So we can help them with anything that has to do with computers, and also with any questions that they have. And one of the Plaza Comunitaria liaisons, we're going to rotate, and they will be in charge of the bilingual hotline.
Thank you, Wanda.
Okay, good. No, thank you. Now, before and after school programs, we continue to do that right now, utilizing the Title III funding. NICE's lab preparation, I don't think the test is going away. We're going to have to administer the test, so we're going to continue with that. Dropout prevention strategies and tutoring, and Rosetta's Fund for Parents. I just want to let everyone know that we have plenty of licenses for all of our parents to learn to speak English, or also for our teachers and staff that want to learn Spanish. They just have to call our number, and we will make sure that a Plaza Comunitaria liaison gets in touch with them so they can enroll them in the program. We have many parents already that enroll also. And I want to thank, with the bottom of my heart, so many teachers, retired administrators, and someone who has been very special to this also. Her name is Diana Padilla, Dr. Diana Padilla. She's a doctor at, a professor in Stony Brook University. And I get groceries almost every month at my door to bring to the high school. They have given us so many donations for the food pantry. And this helped us so much, and it's still helping us right now, helping our families in need. As you know, many of our families lost their jobs and they didn't have food. And, it's a very hard, from the bottom of my heart, Diana Padilla, like I said, she has not forgotten. Every month I get groceries, and my husband knows they're not mine because I don't go to the supermarket. So he knows that they're coming from Diana. He goes, oh, she's here. And we get this. So thank you so much, Dr. Padilla, for your efforts and for all the donations. Now, going back to the needs here, as I mentioned before, we need 4 bilingual elementary teachers at this time. I'm really hopeful. Hopefully, we also, our funding for Title I will increase and Title III, and we could get back the reading and the math consultants that are much needed to service our population. As you notice, we have a large number of newcomers, and even the long-term Ls, they can actually help us for those, with those students, so they, we don't have to make referrals later on. A bilingual elementary TOSA. We have a bilingual middle school teacher on special assignment at the middle school level, helping our psych students, but I don't have one at the elementary level. And I would like to have one. I'm not asking the board for general funds to do this. I'm just saying that I would like to appoint, I would like for the board to appoint someone if our funds increase. So that way we can also help the students at the elementary level. Right now we have Amaira Ortiz, who's a social worker here at Central. This social worker is working closely, very closely with, of course, with the special education department. And she doesn't have too much time to work in the family community center to really dedicate all her time there, because she's split between the family center and also the special education department. So I know that Ms. Young requested a social worker, and this is part of the request. So that way we can have just one working with the family community center. So if that is possible, we would love to have one here full time. Last year, a bilingual guidance counselor was not replaced, and we would love to replace that person. It was a bilingual guidance counselor. The person worked at Loretta Park, and hopefully that will happen. And if we have a summer program during the summer, sometimes we don't have that many students come, although they, our bilingual program is always well attended, but it's always great to have transportation. So if this is something that the board can afford, the district can afford, it would be great to have that. Okay, so this is my surprise that I have here. I know that these are some pictures here. I have, this is our drive-through window. We mentioned all the donations, right? So we couldn't have anyone here. So we had a drive-through window, and this became very famous. We got all the donations went in and out this way. So we have Mr. Lochner here. He wasn't wearing a mask, but that's okay. He was away. He was getting to his car. He had it on later on, but we have him here. Maria here with Strong. The Strong has been amazing, also helping us make the donations. Paula organizing boxes and getting everything ready for us. Isis Paredes and Wendy, I don't know what I would have done without them during this time, also helping us with students and making sure that our site and that our students that are the McKinney Bento receive what they needed as well. And then here are my Community Plaza liaisons. They're all here helping us in December. But when you take a look at this picture here, I just wanted you to take a look at this parent and Candace here. Marie Rivera, the TA, was on the other side. I didn't take a picture because she was answering a phone call. But this is the first parent that ever received a computer from the district. Wow. So we trained him, Marie Rivera trained him. And I said, Candace, you have to stop right there. Candace and Marie did it. And I said, you have to stop somewhere, somehow, this picture will be displayed. And I found the right time right now. So here they are. So I wanted you to see this picture. All right, any questions about the bilingual department before I move to the next one? No? Okay, very good.
You know what,
Yes, go ahead.
Ms. Ortiz, I did have a couple of questions.
Yes.
You did make mention about translation services that were being offered, but I didn't know if you could elaborate. I mean, are we able to translate and in-house all the languages that you said were coming into this district? And I know that years ago we spoke about hiring a service maybe through BOCES. How are we doing with getting the translation services into the hands of the teachers?
They all have them, Mr. Feliciano. I pay the bill. I mean, I signed for the bill. You pay for the bill. I signed the bill. So okay. I just received it from BOCES. It's called Propio. Teachers are using the service. I mean, this year the bill was $3,000 because we have to, we have to do this, but it's through BOCES, so it's aidable. And I receive the bill every month, and I know who's using this service or not. The special education department is always using the Propio services. We have many teachers using it as well. But also keep in mind that our Plaza Comunitaria liaisons, they're also used to translate at times and to help the teachers. That's for Spanish. We use the Propio mainly for low incident languages like Urdu and Twi. But also, we have to use the Propio when we also sometimes are working with CSEs, at the special education department, they provide translation. So we have that. And everyone really knows sometimes to call this office. It's a bilingual office. So I guess because of the title of the office, they call here if they don't understand the language, and we always help them.
Okay, and those translation services are offered throughout the day, because sometimes, you know, we are reaching out to parents after work, and this is something that's available to the staff even after hours?
Absolutely. It's proprio. They can call a specific number. All the building principals have it. Mr. Albanese makes sure that all his counselors also have the number. And like I said, I know that it's being used because I get the bill every day. And it actually tells me the name of the teacher that used the program.
Oh, nice.
That's
Is it a
great.
telephone service?
It is a telephone. It used to be just a 1-800 number. And because we use it so much, BOCES gave us our own number.
Wow, that's great.
So, yes. So it's well used.
That's wonderful. That's great. And I know that was something that we're trying to put in place for a really long time. I'm glad to see that it's being used.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. I guess my next question is, you know, you've mentioned bilingual teachers and what it is that we're trying to do in terms of, you know, trying to replace some of the bilingual staff that we had. My question is, what are we doing to attract more bilingual staff? Because we have hired, you know, guidance counselors and social workers, I guess in the last couple of years. Is there an emphasis being put on, you know, the bilingual component?
Well, you know, I work very closely with Dr. Raquel, with Rhonda. We're talking about having a consultant model at some point, because we have to do that also to service bilingual students that are in need of special services. And with Ann, you know, with Ann Palmer, we work very closely when it comes to hiring, you know, interviewing teachers that speak a second language or that are involved in the TESOL program. So at this point, we also attend diversity fairs that also through BOCES, to make sure that we are actually, you know, interviewing teachers that are bilingual. And it doesn't mean just bilingual Spanish, also bilinguals with other languages also that can service our population. So we do make an effort to definitely, you know, hire teachers that are bilingual. It helps us, you know, as you know, when we have a teacher that can teach in a bilingual setting one year and the next year just English, is fantastic, because we can play around with the numbers that way and we can place teachers. So when we hire, that's what we do. That's what we are.
Well, and it's funny that you say that, because I was gonna follow up with that. In one of your slides, you actually made mention that we actually had a decrease in teachers, but we actually were able to maintain an efficiency because this teacher or these teachers were duly certified. And that's, so it's a win for the district, it's a win for the community. And I was just wondering, you know, what are we doing to make sure that that emphasis continues? Well,
now when we begin the hiring, you know, when teachers retire and we have to hire, there's definitely an emphasis. And I know, you know, that it's very difficult to find teachers that are bilingual teachers, right? Because for the most part, we really cannot find bilingual teachers. And there's a shortage of bilingual teachers. But one thing that we're doing here, our teachers don't, whoever comes here to sub, they don't want to leave. They love Brentwood, and I don't blame them, because I love Brentwood too. So one thing that many of the bilingual teachers, they begin working with us in the registration department, doing testing, they get training, and they help us with the testing that we have to do, the preliminary testing, because you have to be certified in order to complete the testing. And we have also many teaching assistants that are also going to teaching. I actually have one here today. They wanted to know what to do in order to become a teacher. And those are teachers that are coming from other countries. And they have their teachers also, for example, the one that was here was a teacher in Venezuela. She's a teaching assistant right now. She's learning English. So we're helping also teaching assistants become teachers. I have right now, we had a teaching assistant who is at Laurel Park, and she just finished all her coursework. So we want to keep them. We would love to keep them if we have opportunities for them. And that's a way to recruit them. So if you ever come to the registration department, you will see many teaching assistants or teaching assistants at some point that they are going for certification. They're helping us here. And that's how we keep our teachers. We train and we mentor them. We don't leave them alone. We always, you know, we want to be with them.
So the other part of that question is that I know that throughout the years, we probably had started making this emphasis, I don't know, 6 years ago, that we wanted to make sure that our teachers were duly certified, you know, in the primary area of their certification and the ENL component. How close are we monitoring those teachers to make sure that by the time they do get tenured, they have those certifications in place? And the only reason why I'm asking you is that I think that a lot of that staff does belong to you. I know that we spoken about this about the years, but it's something that I don't think we've ever really measured.
Right. Many of them belong to the department, but Ms. Palmer and Dr. Akil has done an amazing job also ensuring, and now Rhonda, ensuring, before it was Kim, ensuring that the teachers were at least enrolled in the program, right? That some of them are in genet settings right now, and they do have, they're enrolled in a program. And we have Irene Marfel, she's new in the HR department right now. I'm working very closely with her and Diane Lyons to ensure that even if we have to apply for a supplementary license in between until they finish the program, that is done. And that's what I mentioned, the CRITI program. This office, we track everyone who is in the CRITI program. The Human Resources Department, they track anyone else who has dual certification. And even today, I received 5 emails, just emails from the Office of Human Resources. I was CC on emails asking teachers to make sure that they apply for certain things before the deadline. So definitely HR, they have a system in place now better than ever to make sure that the certifications are in place for all of our teachers. The extra, not just the, I'm talking about the extra certification. Our teachers are all certified. I'm talking about the extensions for the bilingual extensions or the ENL certificates that some of them don't even require it, but they have it now. And it's great. I mean, almost every single teacher at the elementary level that we hire in the past 2 or 3 years, they're dually certified. And that is great. We don't have as many bilinguals because we can find bilingual teachers. And if we find them, they have to be placed in a bilingual setting. But they are teaching our kids. And as you know, the classrooms, 59%, 63% of students are students that are ELs, and not everyone is in a bilingual setting. So what the building principals do is they place these new teachers that have dual certification. They provide them with most of our ELs so they can be serviced in a co-teaching setting without needing to have to ask for more staff.
Okay. And my final question is, I've had kind of like an ongoing conversation with Mr. Lochner a couple of times that we've been able to connect throughout the last, during the past few months on how it is that we could reimagine education with this new tool that we are using, over the last year, remote learning. So, we are set to have, devices in all of our students' hands. We are committed to making sure that teachers have the best technology in their classrooms so that they can continue on the building on the foundation that we've laid out. What is your department doing to take advantage of this opportunity, and how are you reimagining educating our bilingual and SIVE students? I know that we have, you mentioned it a couple of times, we have students who are, whose primary need maybe is to work rather than education. But it doesn't mean that we can't meet them at their own level. So have you been able to explore that, and how is it that you think we can put remote learning into play for some of these students?
Well, I like remote learning, and I think that it's important that our students are exposed to the computers, and to any programs that we have, and we can definitely offer them extra help in the afternoons or during the weekends and connect with parents. I think that having computers and having what is called a cafecito on Sunday, one of our teachers have cafecito, it's called the cafecito de la mañana, and she meets with parents on Sundays and she talks to them and to students. That human touch, having a teacher, I don't think that I can replace that with a computer, and especially with our second language learners, they need our teachers, and our teachers are doing a phenomenal job with them. We need them here, and that's what, we are trying to do everything that we can to have the students here. We have excellent programs that can help our students, and I can only imagine, and we're doing this now, and I actually I was working this week with Dr. Escobaris to ensure that all of our students are using the programs that we have adopted. And one of them is the Rosetta Stone program. So the computers are good for programs, the computers and for students, but I want teachers. We need teachers with our kids. And Brentwood is not just school, a district. We offered our kids so much that a computer will never be able to replace that. So
Let me clarify, and let me just absolutely, I agree with you 100%. So my question was coming from a place where, you know, this would be an in addition to, an enhancement of, not a replacement of the staff at all, and not doing anything. But how could we use this tool, right, to provide that extra level of learning?
I see.
You know,
Okay.
yes.
Yes, definitely. No, thank you for clarifying that, because yes, I love our teachers, and,
Yep.
and the kids love them too. No,
Yep.
so definitely after school programs, so that way, being that we don't have the transportation, especially at the elementary level for many of our students, and it will be an additional cost to the district, providing after school programs virtually, that would be fantastic. Even before that, you know, we use the computers to do what we call virtual field trips to show the students the world, around the world. Showing the different images and pictures, because we always had to use visuals, right, for our students so they can make connections to their learning. And that's what when we began to purchase Aqua Sports, we put them at the high school to being able to bring the outside world into the classroom. So the computers will be for, you know, only for after school programs that we offer, and for Saturday academies perhaps, and also to meet with parents, so that way they don't have to leave home, or they can just do this from home. And the Rosetta Stone are wanting to continue to work at home with the programs that we have.
Okay, great.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Any questions from other board members?
Wanda, Paula's in the waiting room trying to get in. Are you able to let her in?
I think Stacy, can you let her in? I don't know how to let
You
her
are
in.
the host now, Wanda. Click
the
on
host.
participants. And that box will come up, and then you could just
Yeah.
hit admit.
I'm looking for participants right now.
You shake your
On the
mouse,
bottom.
it'll come up on the bottom.
Oh, sorry. I don't see the
On the same line where the video and the microphone are,
You know all
To the
that,
right.
the share screen.
to the right of it, yeah.
Oh, okay, hold on a second.
Yeah, it's between the share screen and the video, more, or the chat.
Okay. Okay, I see it right here. I'm going to let
It
her
should-
in now.
Have popped up.
Admit? Yes, I got it. It wasn't, I have two screens, so it wasn't the other one.
Oh,
Be joining. I think that she's in.
yes.
Hi, Paula.
Hello.
No.
Hey, Paula.
Hi, how are you? I'm sorry I'm late, but it was one of those things.
Okay. All right, so now we are going, you know, I also supervise the Office of Funded Programs and the Office of Registration. In the Office of Funded Programs, we have Dr. Vincent Leone. He is doing an amazing job with everything that we have to do with this office right now. You know, he's working very closely with the cabinet and the building principals and the teams in creating templates, and also collecting and working with principals on creating the school improvement plans. This is something that we need for our title funding. And we have to make sure that we are 100% in compliance, and he's helping us with this, and he created an amazing template for this principals to follow. He also works closely with Lisa Landry. Many of you know Lisa Landry. She works on all the state reporting. So he's doing that as well with her. And he managed all the Title I, Title II, 3, 4, and 5 grants, including all the school improvement grants, as well as the universal grants. And I will talk a little bit about it later. Now, I wanted to present to you what we were able to buy with title funding, and what we were able to buy 17,000 computers, 32 cards with the computers, and 20 Aqua Sports. And this is since March. So this is from March to now. We have been able to do these, and 66 for the private school, because we also have to share any title funding we have to share with the private schools. We do have a new grant. It's called the Human Trafficking Youth Prevention Education Grant. We are receiving, right now, we're granted $525,052 per year for 3 years. This is a federal grant, and everything that we say about the grant has to be approved. At some point, we're all going to meet with the board to let them know exactly what this grant entails, but we're very happy, and we were able to hire a prevention counselor for the high school to work and train our teachers on this subject, and our students and families. And Dr. Guerrera mentioned the Smart Start grant. that we receive, and we're eager to start with that. But all of the budgets and all of the funding, it is managed through the title of funded programs, from the Office of Funded Programs. Okay, so how do the state knows what kind of funding they're going to give us? So it is based on the percentage of students that are economically disadvantaged. And as you can see here, right, we have Loretta Park and Laurel Park being the highest with a 93%, but all of our schools on the district, of course, the district is 89% economically disadvantaged. This is what the state uses to calculate funding in terms of title grants. I'd like to show you what we received last year and what we have this year, the comparison. So last year, we had a $4 million, $191,265 with Title I. That's minus $81,000. So although enrollment increases, sometimes, we see a difference here with the title funding. We have a potential carryover money of $479,000. If we are allowed to use it, we are probably going to use this to enrich our summer programs that we already have, so we don't have to ask the board for general funds. By Title I Part D, this is the outreach house. Title II, this is also a grant. It went up $4,000. This grant, what we use with this grant, we have a computer TOSA. We also have a math TOSA, and we have the TOSA from the Freshman Center. That's what we actually pay with this. Some training for mentoring administrators, and we have to share the money also with the private schools. Going back to Title I just want to mention that we use this funding to fund reading math consultants and AIS teacher. We also use the funding to fund a dropout prevention counselor that we have at the high school right now, our homeless liaison, iReady and iReady math products, enrichment programs, and private and family engagement. And also part of the funds go to our homeless population. In terms of Title III, as you know, that is the funds that this office manages. Title III, the immigrant funds is the money that we use to cover the cost of our teacher on special assignment that is right now at the middle school level. And then the Title III, we received minus $113,000 this year. Although our enrollment goes up, the money went down. We have a potential carryover of $475 because last year we couldn't do all the field trips and everything that we were planning to do. So the money carry over into this year. Hopefully we will be able to use these funds for the summer program that we would like to continue here. And then we have Title IV money. We really couldn't use that money a lot last year, so we have a large number of carryover money. Many of the activities were going to take place after March, and we could not use the funds. So this is what we have right now. Hopefully we are able to use the carryover money. Any questions about title funding? Okay. This is the Universal Pre-Kindergarten Grant. The money here has not increased since we received the grant. I just want to mention to you that we had a total of 714 families that registered for UPK this year. At this point, we only have 406 students enrolled. Registration is still open. Many parents are still afraid that the students are little, and with the COVID virus. So although we had the families registered, they decided not to send the students to school. And if they did, they decided that just to come in for 1 or 2 weeks. We received notification from the Office of Early Learning that it's a possibility that we're going to get all the funding this year. There was speculations, and we received actually also an email indicating that, a memo indicating that we were going to get a 20% reduction on this grant. It appears that that is not going to happen. We don't know. So if that's the case, and once we receive the memo from the state, we are going to reallocate and send an amendment to see what else can we do with the funding if we actually get the funding, the entire funding. Okay. In terms of the Office of Registration, let me just move to this registration right now. The office is supervised by run by Dr. Marlene Ramos Belita. This year, as you know, we had to begin in summer, we began an online registration. I know that when I met with Eileen Felix and a team to discuss some action plans that we had for the Office of Registration, and one of the areas that we really wanted to target was the online registration. We were working at that time, we were working with Guy Nelson, trying to create the best way to provide online registration. Well, the pandemic came and we had to do online registration no matter what. So Lisa Landry and Candice Chen help us create a system right now that is working okay, but we need a better system, a system that is enhanced and that parents can just go ahead and enroll students directly from their home. Right now, they have to make an appointment. We have to create a file for the parents so they can submit all the forms via online. And the system is also something that was already presented to the Board of Education. I believe Candice presented that at the last meeting when she presented. So that way our parents can enroll their students, we can register. I already mentioned that we need also the bilingual social worker for there. So now the students that we enrolled so far, we enrolled 1,173 families and we withdrew 1,475 families, 65 families. I wanted to let you know about the kinder registration dates. This is January 25th all the way until March 26th, but we're still going to continue. This is just so that way we can do the testing. We have to interview the students and we have to provide them with the screening. And UPK registrations, the registration begins on April 5th all the way through the 28th. So this is when we're going to be accepting most of them. For some reason, we already have 224 applicants for UPK. So that's a very good sign for next year. Our attendance
Ms. Ortiz,
teachers-
can I
yes.
just stop you? Can I just jump in again?
Sure. Sure.
So what do parents have to do now? Because I was going to ask you on the previous slide, what do parents have to do now to register for their UPK next year?
For next year, they just have to call the office of registration. It's 434-2301, and they have to ask for an appointment. The appointment is given with a specific register, a clerical, and that person will call the parent, explain exactly what they need, and they will show them how to upload all the documents. As I mentioned before, the system that we have is not really sophisticated yet. This is something that we have to put together. And it requires for the clericals to create a file for each parent. With the new system, the file will be already created for them and automatically. So that's why they have to make an appointment. Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't start until April 5th. That's what's on your slide right here, right?
Exactly. But we have many families already calling and we don't say no here, as you know. So we we have been able to, to enroll them and give them an appointment. That's what we have been able to do. Now, registration for now, Mr. Feliciano, it's open now. So we welcome any student. We are open. It's just that they will have to provide them with transportation.
Okay.
Wanda, the numbers you showed us before for UPK, those were from last year then, when you said that some parents withdrew their
No,
students?
this is this year. This is this year. This is this
well,
year.
that's what I mean, this school year.
This is the school year, right? So
year.
in September, right? September, we had 714 families. People register, the parents registered. But because what is happening, they're afraid, when we close the classroom, they're afraid of the little ones. And they, we have only 406 students. And we have full day seats available. And we also have half a day seats available for the kids. So anyone that wants to register, we're open right now to do that. We have
Wanda.
Yes.
Do we have the rollover between UPK now, those students that are enrolled in UPK, and for them to register for kindergarten? Are we working with the parents on that they could be able to upload all the paperwork needed to roll over into kindergarten?
Well, so the good news is that if they're registered already in a CBO, right, they don't have to be registered. They do, and I'm working closely with the kindergarten principals. We had a meeting last week and we're having another one, I believe it's on March 10th, to discuss transitions to kindergarten. So they will be, at some point, they have to come here. The students will come here. We are going to interview many of the students, but they will be going directly to the school. But they don't have to do the registration. This is the second part of the registration process. The parents do not have to provide us with any documentation that they, to re-enroll them again. The rollover is just going to happen. So for those kids that are in a CBO, they don't have to do that. And we even, help the parents that decided not to, withdrew the students from UPK. What we did was we didn't withdraw the student. We put them on something called UPK hold. We had 96 students like that we knew that were still here in the district. And we called them, all of them. We call them now and we are giving them the interview and the screening. The good thing about the CBOs is that part of the screening takes place at the CBO, so we don't have to do it. So yeah, it is just going to be almost seamless, and the parents will be able to actually go to the school that they belong to and see the school that the students will be attending in kindergarten.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So yeah, Dr. Malena Ramos created an action plan, with the attendance teacher to track our students. So she's working very diligently with that and the attendance teachers. I'm very proud of their work. I want to mention that many of our students, like I mentioned before, they have to go to work, right? And we need them back here. So Jerry Chen, Wena Benes, Ruth Cosme, and Mary Alice Can has done an amazing job trying to get our students back here. And they're enrolled in the high school. Many of them are taking classes at, in the evening high school also. The great news is that we actually removed 168 families from McKinney-Vento to status, and very happy for these families that they now have a permanent residence. So we were able to do that. And as I mentioned before, I do want to thank also all the clericals and testers in the registration department. What they had to do to create this online registration, it was not an easy task. And also it was a little painful at times. Now it is amazing. So I'm afraid now to bring the news program that is going to be easier for them now. So I do want to thank them for their efforts and everything that they have done there. And this is the number, this chart here shows the number of students enrollment from last year to this year. In terms of the homeless students, as you can see, the numbers went down. And I just want to point to you the immigrant youth. It may seem like the number went down, but by definition, immigrant youth, when we have to report these numbers, this is something that Lisa Landry has to do. I can only report the kids that are immigrant and that only been in program for 3 years. After 3 years, although they are still an immigrant student, right? I cannot request funding for the students. So I cannot request funding for them. So the enrollment might seem that is low. We still have immigrant students here in the district. It's just these are the ones that are reporting to the state to receive funding. Okay. And this is my proposed budget that I have here for textbook. I believe that Ms. O'Connor sent all the board members an itemized list of all the textbooks that I need. There's only a slight increase of 56,000 here in this area. And this is just because I need, our teachers need a program at the middle school level that is a 6-year license. I was able to purchase some this year, but we still have a textbook that needs to be purchased. And that's what I'm asking for that, and supplies. And but you have the itemized list. I don't want to go through that. Okay. And this concludes this part of the presentation. Any questions? No?
Thank you.
Very good. You're welcome.
Very
And
comprehensive.
thank you, thank you. I believe, let me see something else. I have the budget presentation for BOCES, right? Am I sharing my screen right now or now?
No.
Nope, not right now, Wanda.
So let me see if I can do this now. Okay, this is for the Board of Education has a different screen. I am just going to mention a few areas here. Do you see that now or no?
Not yet,
No.
Wanda.
Okay. It says it is sharing it. Nothing yet?
No.
Stacy, can you help me? Oh, share, let me see. Now?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So you have this here. This is what the community is going to see. But with this BOCES budget, the budget has been consistent, and you don't really see too many changes with the budget here. I believe that you have a different version that you can actually see in front of you. I just want to draw your attention to a specific budget code. The budget code number is 2610-4900. You will see an increase of 126% under this budget code. And all this is Parent Square and School Messenger. We could not release the licenses that we have, or the license that we have for School Messenger yet. So that's why you see that increase there. So that's the only increase that you see there under Parent Square. Because, we have Parent Square right now. So that was an increase of 126%. Also,
That's
where is that on? Yeah.
That's not on the screen, Wanda. That's
Right.
That's what was sent to the board members, correct?
right, that's what you have.
Posted on the
Okay.
portal.
Right,
Oh,
so
okay.
that will be, it's 2610-4900.
See it.
So,
I have a copy. Okay.
right, right. But you see, you don't see the community doesn't see everything that you have in front of you, because everything that you have in front of you is really itemized, but an increase on that area was 126%. Now, another one that I want to draw to your attention is a budget code 2070-4900. It looks like it went up 500%. This is because we purchased the PSAT for all of our students at the high school. I believe it was at the high school level. They all took it and they didn't have to pay for that. So we have to pay for this. And we don't know if this is going to happen next year, but we put it on the budget trying to be proactive here just in case that is needed for next year. And then one more, we have Navians. This is a 2110-4900. It went up 150% because we increased also the licenses for Navians as well. This is a program that we use in the middle school and the high school for our students. And the last one that I want to make reference to, it is budget code number 1680-4900. And this is the iReady program. Right now, we're piloting the iReady Math. We already have the iReady program for ELA, and it's purchased through BOCES and also some grant funds. But right now, if we decide to adopt the Math, I wanted the board to have the numbers just in case that happens, so that way you knew that these are funds that we would, that we will need to implement the program at the elementary level. And that's it. That's my presentation for today. Okay. I'm going to stop sharing this.
Well, first I'd like to thank you, Ms. Ortiz, for all the detail. I mean, year after year, you do a wonderful job presenting to this board. And today is no different. Any questions from the board members on anything that Ms. Ortiz has presented?
Ms. Ortiz, in regards to the community school, you get a separate budget on that, or is it a grant that you also receive?
We no longer have that grant. The grant is to Family Service League. We don't really manage the grant here. I would love to begin a family community. We are already a community school here. We really are, and that's one of the things that I would like to do with the social worker that we'll have here in central registration. She's eager to start the work to do the outreach. It's just she has been very busy with special education department. With all the social histories and meeting with parents, and because she's bilingual, so she's definitely needed there. So yeah, we don't have that. We don't manage the grants here.
In regards to the freshman center community school, is that what you're talking about? I thought
Yes,
that
that's
there
what
was
I'm talking about.
I thought there was a specific grant that was called from New York State that was called community school to service children that are bilingual or whatnot.
I have to check that. I have not seen that that grant. I know that right now Dr. Akil is working closely with Dr. Vincent Leone. Just a new grant came up for to provide summer school programs or after school programs, and we have been working on that. Dr. Akil has done a lot of the work with Vincent, Dr. Vincent Leone, but that's the only one that I know about right now. I haven't seen any. And we check every week. I haven't seen anything. So if you see anything, Maria, I know that you send me emails sometimes, please send them my way. We will work in any grant. We don't want to leave any money behind. I owe the state 32 cents last year for something that I bought, and they tracked me down for the 32 cents. Yeah.
So there
Okay,
was a
one-
grant. There were monies though that came in that were called community school.
Yeah.
And I think
Yeah.
Stacy can probably clarify it for
Right,
us. It just
right,
wasn't
that's
the
our
same
budget.
community school.
They classify part of our foundation aid as community schools aid, but it's not actually for a community school. It's very confusing that it has the same name. It's in our general fund though, where when we used to get the freshman center community school aid, that was in a special aid fund. So this is the community school aids that you've seen in some of the budget runs that we've presented here is really just part of our foundation aid, which should be unrestricted aid, but the state actually restricts how we can use that particular aid. It's not additional money.
Right. Okay.
And and some of that fund, Stacy, also it is used to cover for our bilingual teachers' salaries.
Sure.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
And Wanda, what consultants do you need back?
What hopefully all of them can come back and more.
All right, I just want to make sure because I've been fighting for this, so I want to make
So
sure.
hopefully
And
to
TOSAs
service.
you need back also, right?
I'm sorry.
And your toasters you need
The
back.
TOSAs, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
All right.
It will be
Okay.
fantastic if that
Yeah,
happens.
because
They
I've been
service
fighting
all
for this,
children.
and it's not, I know we need them.
Yeah.
It's not
You know,
fair for the students.
I know that, there are many fiscal constraints and, we have to be fiscally, responsible, definitely, with the community that we service. But if you have the money, definitely.
But we didn't lose money from funding, from what I'm understanding. That's why I think that we should be able to put them back.
It will be great if we can definitely bring them back. They are amazing. They really work with our kids and
Well, this is what I
former
did try
elves.
to explain to other board members, how it will affect our students.
mhm.
And I'm glad that you're here to, let it out there, because it really does.
Well, hopefully that will happen. We definitely, the kinder centers really need the reading consultants. We have
Exactly.
now and if we could get them eventually at the middle schools, if we have the money, that will be
No,
fantastic.
we need them all back. We need them all back. Our students need this.
We used to have a lot of funding. I have to tell you, Cindy, I had 9 embedded teachers, meaning that they were very similar to reading consultants, but they used to co-teach in classrooms, in bilingual classrooms. And the state removed that funding. As you see, the funding that our Title III money went down, and we still have students here. We used to use that
Right.
funding, so we didn't have to affect the general funds. Because, we, as you noticed before on the chart that I presented with the title money, Title I, we use a lot of the Title I money to pay for our reading consultants. Now
Right,
that
they should
money,
have never been let go. They should have never.
the money
in my
went
eyes.
down. Right, the money went down, $85,000 this year. We have some carryover money, but we will definitely need to we cannot really, just use the title money. We need general funds, definitely.
Right,
So if
right.
you have the money,
Right.
that would be great.
That was in one of your slides,
Mhm.
Wanda, that you had put up there, that you spoke about the TOSAs, but that's certainly a goal of ours, Cindy, is to, and I hope the boards also, to get the TOSAs.
I've been fighting for this since day one. You know
Right.
that. I
Right.
know how important it is.
No,
My
it's
kids had
critically,
it, and every other child should have it.
right. Well,
That's the
obviously,
way I feel. I'm sorry.
no, I agree with you completely, and I'm sure the rest of the board does as well. They do give tremendous help, not only to the ELLs. That's why I think Ms. Ortiz was going to point out the TOSAs, but also all of our kids benefit greatly from the TOSAs. So it is a great hope of ours that we bring them back next year.
So
And
this is just,
I'm sorry.
Mr. Loshina, wasn't there a point, I don't know, maybe one of our previous meetings, that you were going to give us some information as to how we can bring these people back, but bring them back better? And you was, from what I understood, I thought that you were going to be working with the assistant superintendents to come up with a way to bring them back, because we all know that we need, our reading and math consultants. Absolutely.
so let me just jump in there, and that's Paula, you read my mind. So one of the things that, the ongoing conversations that I think that, we have to, I guess, continue is to explore how it is that we bring these consultants back and have them in a position where they are actually using all of their time to see students versus, doing the quasi administrative work that we've talked about in the past. I know that there's a need, but I'm wondering,
Well, I think Wanda said it.
if I think that what we can
We
do
know it.
is, what we should be doing is looking for a student roster, looking for a kind of like a blueprint of what it is that these teachers would be doing when they are brought back, so that we are providing the services to the students. And I know that, that some more than others, but I think that we need greater detail in terms of the students being serviced. I think that was a worry and a concern that, that we had mentioned in the
Right.
past.
Okay, well, we
Yeah,
have
what-
Wanda here right now. Wanda's here right now, and maybe she can tell you
Wait, can I-
exactly.
No, hang on. Let me speak first, if I can. Yeah, I don't know where that's coming from, honestly, Mr. Feliciano. All of our TOSAs do have a caseload, and they do see students all day long. I'm not exactly sure, where that information is coming from. They do work with kids every single day. We have TOSAs that push into classes. We have TOSAs that push out, pull kids out, but they have been working with kids. I mean, obviously they're not there this year, but prior to this year, they had students on their caseload that they worked with every single day. You mentioned something about, they helped administrators out, but that would be in addition to their teaching 5 periods a day, just like every other teacher would do. So I mean, they do certainly help out the principals and, when it comes to testing, help with the schedules, but I in no way want the community to think that there are TOSAs that are in the buildings not working with kids. They're working with kids every single day. We identify through iReady and through other means of students who need some help, and they are put onto the caseload of those TOSAs, and they work with kids every single day.
Yeah,
Are
so
we talking about just reading and math consultants? Because that's what my concern is. I want to have them back.
Right,
But-
yeah, well.
We
if
should have
we're-
never got rid of them.
but are
Well-
you maybe referring to TOSAs that are not necessarily in the buildings? Because we have TOSAs working like with
No. I was specifically talking about elementary level reading and math consultants. And I know that I don't want to give the specifics, but I do know that there may have been some blurriness in terms of what the emphasis is, specifically some of the responsibilities being moved on to some of the ENL teachers that are in buildings. So what I'm looking at is just asking for greater detail in terms of the student rosters when we move towards that direction, the breakdown of what it is that they would be doing, so that there is greater accountability for their time during the day. That's all I'm asking for.
Well, while we have
No.
Wanda here, can we have her explain what she needs them for?
I think that it's clear what their need for. There is no doubt in my mind what they're needed for.
I don't want to give the Go ahead, Wanda.
I'm sorry. One thing that I just want to say in terms of that, you're mentioning that you would like some details right on the work that they perform and things like that, because we have been working with Title I funding. This is something that we have to do. So, we have a list of kids that it's not that, everyone can see the list, but we have a list when we have an audit, right? We have to provide evidence that our teachers, anyone who's on the title funding, who are they servicing and what are they doing? So that's something that Dr. Vincent Leon is doing right now. Our reading consultants, we have amazing reading consultants. I mean, we always have a saying, once a TOSA, always a TOSA. And we need them to service our kids. So if you have the funding and if you can make it happen, that will be great. And we can provide you with anything that you need. If this is something that you really need to provide, we're here for the students. So whatever we need to do for the kids, we will provide the Board of Education. We will make
Exactly.
it done.
What about the other students? Because we know with this pandemic that a lot of our students are going to be behind. So they're going to need the help also. So
You're
that's what I want to know, what everyone that needs that needs extra reading or math help, how many students and how many reading and math consultants will have to be brought back.
So Lostra, you have a plan actually, I think, in place
Yes.
that's starting in March. I think that we talked about it at our last meeting.
Yes, yeah.
You want to elaborate on that, please?
Yeah, sure. No, I mean, we've already identified the students now that are behind a certain amount of levels in their reading. And what Ann Palmer has done, along with Wanda, they've actually posted for teachers to work in the morning, in the afternoons, and the evenings with groups of identified kids. And that should start towards the end of March. It's going to run Monday through Thursday. As I say, it's going to be either in the morning, afternoon, and in the evening. Principals, along with, well, we don't have reading consultants, but principals will actually have identified those students and will give class lists to these teachers who have volunteered to give extra help to those kids most in need. And that will happen in every single elementary school beginning at the end of March. and that will be every grade level. That will be kindergarten, first grade, second grade. We'll have an identified teacher or multiple teachers for grade 1, grade 2, grade 3 in every single elementary school. So we're excited about that. That's actually going to hopefully help some of our kids who are most in need, who are behind. Certainly no one can argue that we have greater numbers that will be behind this year. We're also planning, as you guys know, and we've mentioned every month now, that we plan on having enrichment classes and extra help during the summer. We typically have had some, obviously Miss Ortiz, she can speak about her summer program. She actually did mention it, but we have that program, but we also have multiple programs that we'll be running this year in order to help our kids. Those will be 3 and 4 week programs that will be rolling out sometime in the springtime. So parents will have plenty of time to enroll their students, but we'll also identify kids and reach out to them and say, hey, I think this is a good program for you to be involved in order to enter in September on grade level. So we're putting a great deal of effort this spring into helping kids who are behind, and also this summer helping kids move some levels up in terms of reading and mathematics, as well as science. We'll have science enrichment camps as well.
Because we need this.
Level. On the secondary level, we'll have, again, Dr. Akil is working on this as well. We'll have summer courses for the middle schools, and we'll have an expanded roster for our summer school at the high school. We hope to expand those. The summer school at the high school will be virtual for the most part, so we can actually expand the number of courses and reach a greater number of students if we do it virtual on the secondary level, that is the high school. However, the other levels that I'm speaking about, we plan on having in person. And, Ms. Young and her department as well, they're also putting together an extended year for special education students where they can go for an additional 6 weeks over the summertime. And we actually started that last year. We hope to continue that and expand that program this summer.
Mr.
And do you
Loshner,
plan
so
on
what,
bringing back, excuse me, do you plan on bringing back the reading consultants for the middle school and the high school?
Well, if we just talk about the reading consultants and the math consultants at the elementary level, that's something that I would like to present to the board as we present our
also the middle
budgets.
school and the high school. That's, that's very
Right.
important too.
The middle school had the RTI specialists. We had one RTI specialist. That's a response to interventions. We had one per building that we put in 2 years ago. We obviously removed them going into this year. If we
That's
could put
not
them
enough.
back, that would be wonderful. And then we obviously have the deans at the freshman center and the high school. And again, I'd like to obviously to continue to work with the board to bring those those positions back as well.
Mr. Loshner, I just wanted to be, if you could just clarify, the things that you're talking about at the middle school and the high school level are credit recovery programs, right? So students who may have, been, left behind for whatever reason would be able and are afforded the opportunity to recover those credits.
Yes.
Are we talking about the same thing?
No, we are. I'm just going to elaborate on that a little bit. It's not really credit bearing so much at the middle school level, but it will be, because those are not credits in the 6th and 7th grade.
Okay, yes.
However, they will be able to make up some of those courses. And on the secondary level, the high school, that is exactly as you say, that's credit recovery. Those are students who did not pass. It might be earth science, living environment. They can take that in the summertime.
Yeah, because
And
they
how
need
would
that to graduate.
All right. I just want to, go ahead.
Yes, no, I mean, and absolutely, if it's seniors in the summer, we get a great deal of seniors who graduate in August. Sometimes as many as 80 seniors actually graduate in August, which is just wonderful. I also want to say that we've expanded our evening high school this semester. And we're also, and I want to thank the BTA as well as BIPSO. They worked with Dr. Akil on this, but we've also expanded the afternoon credit recovery. This is the first time we've ever done this. Very exciting about this. We've actually expanded the opportunities for kids to Again, for credit recovery, they'll be able to take afternoon courses, and that falls under Jerry Chang's evening high school domain. And that, again, that's giving kids, what we're trying to do is we're trying to meet kids at wherever they are. We certainly, I think everybody here knows that we have many of our students are working. It's obviously a very difficult time economically for many of our families. So kids have been forced to work. So what we're doing is, if they can't make night school, maybe they can take government and economics from 3 o'clock to 4:30, Monday through Thursday. So we're real excited about that opportunity. We probably, the last I checked, we could have as many as 75, 80 kids taking advantage of that. So we're really, it's kind of a low expense, but really a high output in terms of what we're trying to do here for the next few months to try to help our kids catch up.
Yeah, we
Right.
can't keep putting
So-
a price tag on their education though, if we have the money.
I just wanted to say that we're able to do that because we were made whole, so to speak, so that we have some funds to expend on the added academic services.
Yes,
Because we did make those cuts, back in the fall.
right.
So that, we can do that now. I don't think that that takes away from the conversation about bringing back TOSAs though, for next year. Because if
No.
we do come back to a full schedule, I think we still will have students, despite all of our efforts, who are going to need the services. And we really need to, take a close look at that. And I just want to, I don't want to leave us or anybody in the community thinking that the TOSAs were cut because there was something about the way they did their jobs. I think it was purely a fiscal decision that was made. So I don't want to leave it with that impression that, either they didn't have a list or, whatever the conversation was before, that it was a fiscal decision. And if it's fiscally possible, that we will look at bringing them back. And, everything that Wanda said and, many other presenters before her, that we will look at putting our district back to
Right.
close as possible to the way it was or better.
I would like to say, let's bring it back better.
Yeah,
Bring
or
it back,
better.
bring it back better.
Really
It is a
I-
chance to relook
better.
at things. So that's,
Yes.
always a good thing.
Right. And you know me, obviously, as the superintendent, I want to bring all of those positions back, but I also want to, caution everyone who's listening. I have to, I'm sorry, as now superintendent, I do have to say that we still have to be careful fiscally. Obviously, Miss O'Connor and I, we go over the numbers almost on a daily basis. I haunt her every single day, and I apologize, Stacy. But I'm very concerned still about the, I always want to, leave the district. I want the district to be fiscally healthy. So I don't want to mislead the school board or the community, to say that everything is roses right now, because we're still in very dangerous waters. I have to be honest with you. I can't overstate how much this pandemic has cost us. We did cut the TOSAs for fiscal reasons. Quite frankly, we have spent a fortune to try to educate our kids in this pandemic, which I'm we had to do. And we absolutely did, but it's kind of one of those, unfunded mandates that really do hurt districts like Brentwood. I mean, we did purchase laptops for a one-to-one initiative that we did not have that budgeted, but we felt the need, and it was obviously a very strong need, to give a laptop to every student. That cost the district, that cost the community quite a bit of money. Aquas boards, we had to buy Aquas boards to try to bring a lot of the classrooms up to snuff. We forget, but we actually put cameras and microphones in every classroom in order to accomplish this task. That was hundreds of thousands of dollars. The list is actually quite enormous, the amount of money that we had to spend in order to get to this point in time. So I do want to say to the community, we've done a great job. I think we've made some great, the board is behind it all the way, that we've made some great financial decisions. But we're not sitting pretty yet. We really have to be cautious. The legislature has not come out with their budget yet. The governor promised us an additional $10 million over last year's foundation aid. If we get more than that, we'll be pretty good, but we won't be fabulous. We won't be fabulous until we really see really what the economic outlook is in New York State for the next couple of years. So I really do want to caution everybody. I want to bring everybody back. I think we should, but we do have, before we say definitely, I think it's really important that we take a look at the numbers that the governor and the legislature will give us in April and May, so we can really make some decisions from a really fiscal standpoint, as well as an academic and all of that, so we can do it correctly.
Absolutely. I just want to say I'm very impressed with our teachers, though, with the online learning. I actually watched Carlos learn online for the first time because I don't have kids anymore, as you know, in the school. And I was so impressed just with the whole system, the way it goes, the way you guys, the monitors, the cameras.
Well, let me say, I'm
impressed. Attendance is taken, the way they're taught. It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It really is. I'm really proud of our district because I've seen other districts, the way they do their online, and it's nowhere compared to ours.
No, I have to, I'm obviously I'm biased here, but I completely agree with you, Cindy. Our teachers and our administrators have done a tremendous job getting us to this point. I still want to say, though, to the community members who are out there, it's definitely a partnership at this point. We need parents to always stay vigilant. It's when your students are home, which if they're a hybrid student, they're going to be home 2 or 3 times a week. You have to make sure that they're logged on to the computer and that they stay engaged. I know it's a very difficult ask. It really is. It's not an easy thing to be home and expect kids to be on a computer for 6 to 7 hours. But that's what the world we live in right now.
No, but the parents really need to check the parent square, because that's how I found out that my little guy wasn't doing the work.
Right. Yeah.
From the letters from the teachers.
Yeah,
the teachers are letting the parents know, and I think the parent square is incredible. I think that's one of the greatest things we did also.
Yeah, no, that was really a great program that we bought in last year.
It's great. It's absolutely great.
Mr. Loshner, how are we doing with the, with the equipment for the teachers? I know some of them that got it, they are absolutely thrilled with it, and it's actually making their jobs easier, and the students are more engaged. That's my thing. So I don't know, I did come in late, and I don't know if you discussed that yet, but I know that I would love to see all of our teachers get.
Ms. Moore, if I could just jump in here. So while you were trying to get in, Ms. Ortiz had a slide where she did present a certain number of aqua sports. I believe it was in the 60 or so range. Okay. So those are aqua sports that she has built into her budget. And it's just so funny because, again, I'm just going to piggyback on exactly what you said. And you and I have had these discussions privately. So Mr. Loshner, the question is, with what Ms. Ortiz had presented in her slides, right? And the deficit that we know that we have in the buildings in terms of aqua sports, just specifically aqua sports. Maybe this is a question for you and Ms. O'Connor. How close are we to really, plugging in that hole so that we are accounting for aqua sports throughout the entire building in this year's budget?
Yeah, well, the whole board would like to know that question, really.
Yep.
Well, you just said you and Paula.
Oh, no. So I just
said you and Paula. I would like to know also.
So Paula and I had to have these discussions in private.
Right, but we're a whole board. What about us?
Okay.
I'd like to know.
I believe, Cindy, we talked about it in a telephone conversation about something else.
Right.
Yes,
so it's
absolutely.
not, I talk about it to whoever will listen.
On behalf of the entire board, Mr. Loshner, would you and Ms. O'Connor please?
Thank you.
Take that.
Well, listen, I don't know. Did you guys hear? If you guys heard a thud, that was Miss Chang just falling out of her chair, hitting the ground.
You know what? How about we ask Ms. Chang to come on? I mean, she's more than welcome
Well, first, if she wants to come on, I will, talk about it a little bit. I mean, she's done just a tremendous job, her and her staff. And first of all, I should give her a shout out for Parent Square too, which I meant to when Cindy brought that up. But really, we owe a great deal of gratitude for Candace for bringing that software in. It's just a terrific piece of software, as you mentioned. But also, I spoke to Candace today because I call her every single day that there is a board meeting. I talk to her a lot in between, but to get the rundown, we're at about 14,000 laptops distributed to the schools. Every school, I asked them for a rundown of how many laptops they've given out and how many they still need. I'm happy to report that many of our elementary schools actually have given out a laptop to every one of their students. And then the remaining schools, it's not that many left where we have to give it out to every one of the students. So Candace has done, and her team has done a tremendous job getting those laptops out. She's working around the clock on Aquas boards. She can probably give you an accurate number. I think, if you saw, I think it was about 150, we'll say, that needed to be pushed out in order to get to every classroom. I'm going to really be quite honest with the Board of Education right now that we can't at this time make a commitment to get an Aquas board in every classroom by the end of the year.
Yep.
Not only is it maybe not fiscally possible at this point, but it also may not be even physically possible to get it into every single classroom because we're asking them to do 100 different tasks at the same time. So that might not be a case, but I am still going to guarantee the board, and I hope I'm correct, that every single classroom does have technology. It might have a projector. It might have other pieces of technology that maybe Candace can speak about better than I can, certainly, that will allow kids and teachers to communicate. But I know, Paula, you're going to say, but it's not an Aquas board, and it's not. But again, I respect what you're always trying to do, trying to get the most for the kids. And we want that as well. But I don't think we're going to get every single classroom. But I will tell you, Ms. Chang, I spoke to her today. She actually is committed to getting North Middle School. Everyone who was slated to get it at North Middle School over the next couple of weeks, they will all have it. So we're knocking off huge chunks of areas that need help. And maybe Ms. Chang can now jump in.
Mr. Lochner, and the last time that we asked you about this, you did make it clear that this was probably going to be a multi-year approach, and I can appreciate what you're presenting now. I guess one of the points that I want to make is I want to make sure that we are providing for that purchase and providing for the funds so that we can do this in the coming fiscal year.
Well, that's again, Miss Ortiz is a great help. Her and Dr. Leone finding money in the title grants, because that's obviously a great help. We love title grants because that keeps us from taking money out of the general fund. So again, she Wanda and Vincent, they supplement the purchasing of these across the departments, as does Miss Young. She also is responsible for purchasing quite a few out of her grants, which is a tremendous help again to the community because it doesn't come out of the general fund.
Perfect.
But in addition to that, we do budget for Aquas boards in the general fund as well. We presented that at the first meeting. It was in Ms. Chang's area, the 2610 area of the budget. We have a line there where we budget for the Aquas boards. In addition, the building principals are given money, for their buildings, and they've chosen to put it towards Aquas boards as opposed to some other things, just to help get all of those classrooms, or as many as we can, covered. But eventually, within the next year, I'd say, we'll be looking at all of our classrooms covered.
So how do we prioritize when we put the Aquas boards in? Because I know they come from different funding sources, and like you said, building principals may purchase some, but IT could only put in so many. you know, in one given day, week, or year. So how do we prioritize that process?
I'm gonna let Candace answer this too, after I just jump in a little bit. We have some identified schools,
Right.
and when they're identified for a certain reason, and let's say it's a ELA or math,
Mm-hmm.
what we're really required to do is then put all of our funds and energy into making sure those particular departments have all of the technology that they need. So that's why some buildings might be, maybe they don't have it in one department, but they have it in another. The reason being is because they were identified in that area. And one of the things that the state said was, let's put in technology in those areas. So that could be a reason why some buildings there's a disparity. Like this department doesn't have any, but this department has, you know, everyone has this.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm asking the question, because I know that these issues come up a lot. You know,
Right.
like, why did this person or this department get it and we didn't? So,
It could
That's
also be
just to be
based on
open.
funding source.
Right.
So like Mr. Lochner said, Ms. Young in the special ed department can purchase aqua sports, but then those would have to go into special education classrooms. If
Right.
Ms. Ortiz purchases the aqua sports from, let's say, a bilingual grant, those boards would have to go into, you know, classrooms where we have bilingual teachers. So it could be based on funding source as well.
right. Yeah, my question was really, I understand the funding source, just like, how do we prioritize like a special ed over a bilingual over special ed? Is it just a matter of timing, you know, as to when they come in, or do we have like a set, you know, stratification of how we're going to do that?
So Julie, you're specifically talking about the installation and not the
Installation,
funding.
yeah,
The
only installation, right. I
Installation.
understand, you know, where they're coming
Yep,
from. I'm
yep,
just talking
yep.
installation.
Candace?
So first, I definitely want to just take this opportunity to say that I have the best and most dedicated staff in the world. They put in a tremendous amount of logistical and physical work to get these boards done. And they're doing it, you know, in conjunction with everything else that's being asked of them. So one of the boards that installs types that we haven't mentioned so far are replacements. We do have some older technology in the district that we really can't fix easily. And in those situations, we do replace with an aquas board. So that is the type of aquas board install that we do. In terms of priorities, we always prioritize those first because it is harder for a teacher who's used to having technology in the classroom to do without. In addition, some of the older first generation aquas boards, you know, start to reach that 6-7 year mark in which most TVs generally start to fail. So, so that is also a type of replacement that we do and that we prioritize. After that, we try to be as fair and equitable as possible. So first come, first serve. However, if one of those repairs do come up, we do generally tend to shift and we might try to get some planned installs in with that replacement. So we are trying to be very fair about how we schedule an aquas board install to what makes the most logistical sense.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
Any
you.
other
Candace,
questions?
and the
Any other questions?
electrical system, that would need to be upgraded somehow
A great
in the
point.
future.
In some cases, yes. Part of the planned installs is a survey, and if we do determine that we do need electrical, we work with B&G and the building custodians to make sure there's a work order in for it. And then sometimes that opens its own can of worms for my crews and electricians, because in some cases they're finding that the panels might be full and they have to run a whole sub panel. So that one board may have triggered an avalanche of work for them.
Any other questions for board members?
Rich, as many of the community members are asking in regards to the construction that's going on or with the solar system that's being placed. I guess you could talk about that a little.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, thank you. We did talk about that a couple of months ago, so I'm glad you brought it up again. I'll speak a little bit and ask Stacy. We are so excited about our solar panels that are being installed in all of our schools. So all 17 schools will eventually have it. Over at East Middle School, the parking lot, if you go in, you'll see it. It's absolutely magnificent. The East K also, they have, almost completed their install. So we're real excited. They've started in the 4 middle schools. They've at least put up the stanchions or the foundation for each one of the stanchions. So you're going to see community members in every school that you drive in the next few months will have solar panels being installed. Now they're also going to go online. We're not going to wait to the end. They're going to go online building by building by building. So East Middle School will be the first building online, and that hopefully will be in the springtime. But right now I probably hit my limit as to what I know. Miss O'Connor really, takes care of the construction, and she's, equally as excited about this solar panels as I am.
Absolutely. And you covered, what's visible out there. We're in the pre-plan phases for many other schools. We're starting to set up, here at the administration building by the high school, to start the pillars here as well. But what also is included in the energy performance contract, I should say, beyond solar, is the lighting on the outside of the building. So we've changed out quite a bit of lights from the older lights that aren't as bright to LED lights. We've installed window film. We're done with that actually in all of the buildings. So that'll help insulate the building, not only in the winter, but also in the summer to keep some of the heat out. So there's a lot involved in this project, but the solar by far is what you see the most, and it's very exciting. And yeah, we're going to move right along. It'll take, I'd say, another 1.5 years until we finish everything, but building by building will start to come online. As Mr. Lochner said, East Middle School will be the first, and we're thinking late spring actually with that building to come online, and then East K should probably be right behind that, because you could see their solar panels are up as well along the school on the side where the buses park and also in the front of East K. Then we're looking to put lights under those solar panels, which will greatly help our parking lots, because many of them don't have light, and they've been, actually out in the parking lot, not attached to the building. We all have lights on the buildings, but it's been very dark when we have night events, and this will greatly help. And that's going to be at all of the schools as well. So little by little, we're making great progress in that, and we're all very excited for it.
One more question in regards to who's paying for this. Some community members have not received that information. So this is part of a grant. It's not part of the budget. We could go into that.
An energy performance contract is very interesting. It's something that the board approves. It doesn't have to be approved by the community. And that's because it really comes at no cost to the community. There is a cost, obviously, to the construction, to installing the solar panels, the window film, the lights, what have you. But you're doing that not to add energy costs to the school district, but to take them away. The solar panels will greatly reduce, if not eliminate, our electric bill. So the savings that you achieve from these improvements that you're making throughout the district actually pay for the cost of the construction. And that has to be proven to the state in order for it to be approved. I mean, we submit a tremendous amount of plans and estimates and our utility bills before and what we project them to be after. So the cost of an energy performance contract is actually paid for by the energy savings that you achieve from the project.
Thank you.
All right, listen, I would like to thank everybody, specifically Ms. Ortiz for her presentation, everything that her and her department provide the community and the school district. Thank you so much on behalf of the entire board. Ms. Lochner, thank you. Ms. O'Connor, it's always a pleasure. And our special guest, Ms. Candace Chang, you have had the privilege to come back on before this board to talk about budget issues for the second time. And again, I can't say this enough, and I know that Mr. Lochner has said this multiple times. This district, this board is so indebted to you and the department for everything that they've provided to this community and our students this year. It's a team effort, but I just want to, say if we're giving out, MVP awards, I think there are going to be multiple nominations of you and your department. So thank you sincerely. With that being said,
Mr.
Could I just-
Feliciano, I'm sorry.
Wait,
That's
I was
okay.
just gonna,
That's okay. Go ahead, Richard. Go ahead.
I always, you always give me an opportunity to thank the presenter. If I could just real quick. here.
absolutely.
Listen, obviously, yes, we're blessed to have Miss Chang, but we're equally blessed to have Miss Ortiz as the assistant superintendent in charge of bilingual and student intake. She truly does think of each one of the Brentwood students as her own kid. She really does. She really does believe that they're their own child. She treats each and every one of them as if they're a precious gift, and we are so blessed to have her. I also want to thank not just her, but her entire department. I think this might be the first time we ever can, at a forum like this, thank them for the efforts that they started as soon as the pandemic hit, that really continued from March all the way through to the fall. And it's still obviously happening to this point. But Miss Ortiz, Miss Ribeiro, Maria Rodriguez, Isis, April Sinius, they were here early in the morning till late at night every single day. And Maria Rivera, I have to thank her also, the TA president. They really just tremendous people who dedicated so much time at the height of need. Really, they were here early in the morning collecting food till late at night, distributing food to the community. And really, it was really just beautiful to watch, and really so proud of the efforts that they put in during that time that community members really needed it. And I'm so thankful for Miss Ortiz, plus the fact that she's incredibly professional, as is her entire staff. They really put so much effort into ensuring that this budget presentation is perfect. She truly does cross her T's and dot her I's, and looks out for every penny that is spent, by this district, and make sure that it is spent correctly and it is put into, put exactly where the needs are needed most. So she really is a gift to this community. I really want to thank her. And she oversees the Office of Funded Programs and Registration. And she really has made those two departments. We're very grateful to have Dr. Leone in Funded Program, who has been with us now 2 years and has really done a tremendous job for us. And Dr. Ramos over in Registration. You've heard me say many times privately, now I'm saying it publicly, we hit an absolute home run with Dr. Ramos. She's really made that department, the registration department, is really an outstanding department. And she is equally dedicated to making sure that the registration process is warm and welcoming for parents. And I've heard from countless parents over the last 2 years how they're treated by the staff. So it's really a great addition. But it's all led by Miss Ortiz, who really is a tremendous leader. So we're very, very grateful to have her in that position.
I would like to just add something also to you, Mr. Lochner, and your assistant superintendents have all worked so very, very hard during this pandemic. And I know it hasn't been easy for all of you. And I know, Mr. Lochner, you've been to every school. You've given out, food. Your assistants have given out food and have been everywhere, filling in when principals were, couldn't make it in. So on behalf of the board, and I know I shouldn't speak for the entire board, but I will. We are so grateful to you and your staff. Thank you.
Thank you. I do appreciate it. I also want to, I know I sometimes, I do the same thing. I say assistant superintendents. I want to throw Miss Young in there as well.
Yes.
She's the director of special services. I know you meant that as well, Miss Moore.
Yes.
They are much more than me. They are tremendous people. As a matter of fact, I know they're probably still here tonight.
Yeah.
That's the kind of cabinet that we have here in Brentwood. They're still here, and they're here early in the morning. And when they have a project or something to work on, Miss Ortiz in particular, and actually all of them, they won't leave until it's accomplished. And it really is a testament to how much they love this community. So we're very blessed to have a great cabinet.
Thank you. Thank you.
That
Paula.
we are.
Thank you.
I just want to say one thing. It is an honor for me to really work for this district. The community that we serve, it is amazing. Sometimes I feel that I'm selfish because I just want to be here. I don't want to be home sometimes. I want to just come to work. And who can say that, right? Who can say that you just are eager to come to work? My husband makes fun of me all the time about it, and even my son too. And I do like to thank the cabinet, Stacy, for always guiding me with many things that we have to do from the beginning when I entered this position. Mr. Lorschman for all the support, and the board. You know, you have always been supportive of anything that I want to do. You always listen, and if you can do it, you can. If you cannot, you cannot. But it is my job to present the budget to you. I do it every year. This is like my 2 minutes of fame that I love. And actually, my papa is looking at me, watching me for the first time. He always wanted to see me. He's in Puerto Rico right now, and he's watching me. So, papi, te quiero mucho. I just wanted to let him know.
What's his name? What's his name, Miss Ortiz?
Mariano Ortiz.
Hola, Mariano.
Hola, Mariano.
Yo soy de la otra parte de la isla, soy de Aguada.
Bienvenido, Brentwood.
Oh,
I don't know if my husband is watching me, but my puppy is watching me.
Aw.
your husband's
Thank
cooking.
He's cooking. He is cooking. Yes, definitely. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Wow,
Wanda,
so
thank you.
we're being watched in Puerto Rico right
Yes,
now.
you are.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
Huepa.
All right.
Yeah.
Mariano, hay 4 puertorriqueños en esta junta, ¿oíste? La señora Burgos, la señora González Prescott y la señora
Estamos.
Félix, que no está, ¿oíste?
Isabela aquí.
There you go. All right, listen,
Oh,
Mr. Loescher, thank you for taking the time to say that. I think that was a great closing. And I know that all of the board members stand behind every single word that you said. So thank you very much
Thank you.
for everything that you brought forth.
Yeah.
With that being said, if it's okay, I would like to try to adjourn tonight's meeting. So I need a motion to adjourn the board workshop at 7:12.
Motion.
Motion by trustee Burgos. Could I have a second, please?
Second.
Second by trustee Safiri. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? So moved. Thank you very much and have a wonderful night, everyone.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Now.
Good night.
Good night now.